Hi, everybody. Darren Lynch here, founder and CEO of Irish Titan, here with another whiskey shot. And we are graced with the presence today of Anna Meyer from Sezzle. Hi, Anna. How are you?
Hi, Darren. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. Thanks for making some time this morning. We appreciate it.
Happy to be.
Why don't you just briefly share a little bit about you, Sezzle, and introduce yourself to the crowd?
Sure. So I am the VP of sales at Sezzle, and my team is responsible for selling new merchant partnerships, as well as managing existing merchant accounts and helping make sure they've got everything they need to grow and be successful with Sezzle. A little bit about Sezzle. We're a buy now, pay later company. So I'm sure a lot of people have seen on product display pages, you'll see a $100 item, and right below there'll be a widget on an e-commerce site that says, or 4 equal payments of $25. So that's what Sezzle offers to the users.
Great. And hint of foreshadowing in your description there, because what we're going to talk about in this whiskey shot is buy now, pay later. That's emerged over the last few years as a massive trend in the e-commerce space, right? It's been around for a little while, but I think that the pandemic really positively influenced buy now, pay later, like a lot of things in the e-com space, right? So just tell us a little bit about some of your thoughts about the trend leading up to where we are today and what you might see in the future. Then we'll start to dig around on that.
Yeah, so buy now, pay later, some people refer to it as the modern day layaway. It's really taken off in the last few years, I think, especially because of the pandemic and people needing to watch their finances a little bit more closely and budget purchases. The credit system is broken for young people. So back in, I think it was 2011, there was a law introduced that changed the age you could get a credit card from 18 to 21. And now when you're 21 and you try to get a credit card, it's difficult to get approved for a good card. It might be a predatory card with high interest rates. So buy now, pay later has emerged as this amazing option, allowing consumers to budget their purchases, to not pay interest, and to not overspend and get into trouble and debt over time. So I see the trend continuing. It's becoming more and more ubiquitous. The more websites you go to, you'll see, I would say probably about half of them now have buy now, pay later on their website. And the reason merchants are doing this is because it increases their conversions, it increases their average order value. And those price sensitive shoppers that are looking at their website and debating whether they can make that purchase or whether they need to save up to make that purchase are able to comfortably commit to the purchase at that time, increasing the number of shoppers that actually get through the checkout.
Well, this makes a lot of sense because it's sort of the logical next step in checkout options, right? I was speaking at a conference 5-6 years ago, maybe something like that. And at that time, in preparation for my speaking gig, I was looking through some of the best practices to increase average order value, conversion. And one of the main consistent themes in all of that was to offer more checkout options, right? Whether it be PayPal or Visa or whatever it might be. Well, this is just another one of those, really. And so I'm not surprised to hear that there are strong statistics supporting it. And interesting insights as to some of the merit in offering buy now, pay later with changes in credit card laws. I actually didn't know that, so that's helpful. So do you see this perform better on sites and e-commerce channels that more specifically target that younger demographic, or does it perform well across really all sorts of industries, all sorts of verticals?
You know, I think it really started with a younger demographic. Women's fashion is where it got its stronghold. And I think that's probably where it's the most common, but now you're starting to see it pop up everywhere in electronics, in office supplies, in sporting goods. So it's no longer focused just on young people and just on the female audience. It really is becoming more popular across the board in all verticals. I think it works best if the average order value of the merchant is $500 or less.
Okay.
The reason being, if you've got, a $1,500 purchase, sometimes paying that back in 4 payments, 6 weeks total, isn't enough time to effectively budget that. You might need a longer financing option for those larger purchases.
Great insights. And that is a unplanned segue into my next question, right? You talked about 4 payments over 6 months. Is that what you said?
6 weeks.
6 weeks. Sorry. So that's the general structure for the Sezzle anyway, buy now, pay later program.
Yep. So the consumer would select Sezzle at checkout. They would pay 25% of the purchase price at the time of checkout, and then 25% every 2 weeks until it's paid off.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And then not to get into the weeds more than we need to, but in general, how does it work, right? Because are you verifying a user's identity in any more substantial way than regular checkout processes do?
Yeah, I think one of the things Sezzle really prides ourselves on is our high approval rates. We're using alternative data sources to approve shoppers. And we're able to approve more shoppers than a lot of other buy now, pay laters in the industry based on our unique underwriting algorithms. The reason it's a little bit different in buy now, pay later than perhaps getting approved for a credit card is most of our shoppers have a very thin profile or no credit profile at all. So we need to approve them based on other factors like bill repayment history, how long they've had an email address for, and other things like that.
Oh, great. Great.
Yeah.
Well, before we move into a takeaway that you can leave the audience with, I do want to be very explicit and intentional. We appreciate the Sezzle partnership we've had over the years. So for those of you watching and tuning in, Irish Titan and Sezzle both are either headquartered or has significant operations here in Minneapolis and the Twin Cities. And there aren't a lot of e-commerce ecosystem players here. There are a few, don't get me wrong, but it's not one of the centers of gravity. So for those of us who are here, we have pretty deep roots with each other. And Sezzle's been a great partner over the years. So thank you to you and the team over there for all of that. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Darren. We really value the partnership with Irish Titan as well.
Great. So now a nugget. Is there anything you would like to leave the audience with before we wrap up?
I think I'll leave it with one of the most common objections that we hear from a merchant on why they wouldn't consider buy now, pay later. And that is, I don't want to offer financing for a shopper. If they don't have the money now, then maybe they should just wait and not buy it. And they view it as like a predatory solution. And
sure,
I think the way to think about it is a credit card actually wants you to spend more and to pay interest. And that's money you also might not have right at that time. With Sezzle, you never are charged interest. There are no late fees. And you can't get into trouble. It's just a budgeting tool, and it's a really user-friendly option to add to your site.
That is a great takeaway. So thanks for making time this morning, Anna. Thanks for your support over the years. And thanks everybody for tuning in. There will be more whiskey shots on the way. Sláinte, everyone.